Tucson.
Take it away, Taylor.
I'm picking up really sketch vibes. My woman's been telling me lies about other men, about where she's been hanging. Suspicious thoughts in my mind keep brewing up over time. He's just a friend, when to me he's a stranger. And I can't hold no evidence, but I can't think emotionless. And something in your choice of dress can only lead to just one guess. White lies you try can't blind my eyes. You got your red dress on and you wanna play like I can't know things that I've never said. White lies you try can't blind my eyes. You got your red dress on and you wanna play like I can't know things that I've never said. It's been keeping me up every night. Most of the time I toss and turn in bed and I try not to explode when you arrive, sneaking through the door like it ain't 5 in this house ain't mine. And I keep picking up really sketch vibes, and I keep looking over at your side, wondering where you've been, thinking that he ain't a friend, and all these thoughts are singing. So I say it again, white lies you try can't blind my eyes. You got your red dress on and you wanna play like I can't know things that I'm never saying. White lies you try can't blind my eyes. You got your red dress on and you wanna play like I can't know things that I'm never saying.
All right, we're back here live on the podcast broadcast. Please welcome full studio here. Obviously, we got the beautiful and talented Weirdo and Kendall, both follow those, and actually equally beautiful and talented Chef Anthony Dromgoole, Iron Chef winner, reigning defending, and also the executive chef. Is that the title, executive chef at OBON?
Yes, sir.
Which I finally got to experience at the bar part of it with Chef Anthony there working and stuff, which is fantastic. And you got the plate that you gave me again is called what?
The modern omakase.
Yeah, the modern omakase. So this is how you do sushi, right? Especially if you go up and you see the sushi chefs right there, you sit right at the bar and you ask for this, and essentially it's a sampler platter of some of the best rolls that they have. And I had
nigiri.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, not rolls.
Not rolls.
Not rolls.
The real stuff.
I was like, you could say it, but I can't say that. I didn't understand. Yeah. No, not on the internet. I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, the non-roll sushi. Because I was like, word. Well, oh no. This is why I asked you again when I was there. I was like, so what do I order? All right, anyways, it was great. So, yeah, with all that, we had my favorite out of all that shocked the hell out of me was the Japanese scallop, where, and you could explain how you put everything together, but you also he seared it. So with the first bite, you had this kind of like blackened, charred kind of like flavor going into it. And then it's like, it was almost like an everlasting gobstopper from Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory in a way. Because it's weird, because then the flavor profile changed in your mouth, and it ended with a sweet tone where you're like, yeah, like it tastes like candy, right? So it started off one thing, and then just kind of like evolved in my mouth, like real time. Like, whoa. It was mind blowing. And that's one of your favorites too, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's the reaction we get from most guests with a seared scallop like that. Most people are used to it being cooked.
Yeah.
Not fully. You don't want a well done scallop, but most people are used to it being seared, and at least a medium scallop. This is raw.
Yeah.
Not completely raw, just because we quick sear it real quick, but it definitely. Most people are a little bit scared about eating them raw because they're not used to it.
Yeah.
But
because you're like, you could eat scallops raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people are a little afraid of it. But Japanese scallops are definitely a step above most scallops.
Yeah.
And
so they're literally from Japan, the scallops.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So then they're radioactive then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I only had one. And everything in moderation should be good. And I didn't grow an extra unicorn horn.
Not
I mean,
a
or anything.
superhero yet.
Yeah, not yet.
The only thing I know about scallops is from Gordon Ramsay, which is that pretty much nobody knows how to make them correctly.
Yeah.
That they
They're
are difficult.
It's definitely one of the difficult proteins to make in the kitchen.
Yeah. And then once you master that, then you know that you're an Iron Chef. You know? And this is when Anthony was coming in last year, you know, we had the Meet the Chefs. He was one of the chefs that were competing. I was like, well, sushi chef, this should be interesting because you have all these, like, you know, sous chefs who work the line and all the different, like, cooked, prepared thing. I'm like, that might be, like, a challenge. It might be difficult for a sushi chef to compete against these other chefs. And, boy, was I wrong in so many levels. So when in Meet the Chefs, he literally had the bite of the night. And, again, I didn't think that he was going to be able to qualify because it was sushi. It was a sushi bite. But when you had it and you put it in your mouth, it literally exploded with flavor. You're just like, oh my God, that's amazing. But it's sushi. And this is Meet the Chef, so are they looking for something else? The judges, they just recognize game. And they're like, no, this is the most delicious bite of the night. And he went on to face Chef Ken, who's reigning defending. And maybe a little tipsy. Got to talk to Ken because it was almost like a pro wrestling style ending of Iron Chef with a little bit of beef started.
Hey, that's cooking wine, not drinking wine.
Yeah, and if you recall, for those of you on the stream, so when Chef Anthony won Iron Chef, he had this plan going into it, saying, if I win, I'm going to propose to my long-term girlfriend on stage and make her, you know, my fiance. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, it was win, lose, or draw. It just made it a little sweeter to win.
Well, she wouldn't have said yes if he lost. Let's be real. So,
Aw.
you know.
Yeah, that was a possibility.
Win, lose, or draw. I mean, honestly, though, if he would have lost, he would have got down on the knee. And be
Oh,
like,
yeah, I still would have did it.
Yeah.
It was all in the works.
It's a
matter
good
what.
test. Be like, are you ride or die? You know, like, I just lost to this guy.
And there's 400 people there. It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to say no in front of 400.
That's true. It could have been a post no, you know what I mean? But she's still your fiance, correct?
Yeah. Definitely.
Congratulations, yeah.
Thank you so
A
much.
year later. Yeah. So I mean she's protecting your feelings that much that she's in it for the long haul.
Yeah, she just wants to be my boss forever.
Or she's in it for the scallops.
She's allergic to shellfish. So.
Oh.
Yeah,
yeah.
unfortunately.
We're gonna get on the air here, reset the table, do a tease, and let people know they could join us, and then I'm gonna pull up your Instagram as well. Maybe there's some food porn that we could look at as we pump up Meet the Chef. So let's do that. Here's jelly roll. All right, Jelly Roll with Liar on Rock 102.1 KFMA. Podcast broadcast is fully running. In studio, very special guest and friend of the show, Chef Anthony Dromgoole. He is the reigning Iron Chef champion who is prepared to meet the chefs on May 18th. We're going to give you all the information of this upcoming Iron Chef competition and how your favorite chefs can participate as we go down the rabbit hole with Chef Anthony here. Kendall and Weirdo hanging out as well. So we still got another confession session and some more fun headlines, including some of the gossip that's been hitting the internet lately. So you can join us, youtube.com/BVGainer. Stick around because we're going to be talking more Meet the Chefs right after Papa Roach, even if it kills me. New music here on Rock 102.1. Clear. Sometimes if I don't recognize something, I just assume it's new music, and sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm not. They're like, what do you mean Led Zeppelin new music? I don't fucking know.
Hey, it could be a new Robert
It's a
Plant single.
mixtape.
Yeah. Well, no, we're not playing a new. Well, we probably would play a new Robert Plant single, to be honest with you, because I don't know why. All right, let me pull up your Instagram here, which is mostly food and weed. And you've got this garden going. Yeah. Your green thumb is getting ever impressive because not only is Chef Anthony growing like vegetables very well, but your flower is looking impressive, dude.
It's all right.
Yeah, you're starting to like kind of get a little better on everything,
it's
huh?
A little side hobby, little hustle.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I saw a jar of some like, some hairy stuff where I'm like, good for you. And this was all outdoors in your backyard?
The one that you saw was indoor the first time I've actually ran from seed to harvest.
Yeah.
With an indoor tent. it's a whole different game.
Yeah.
Both are very different, especially in Tucson with the bipolar weather.
Yeah, so you never know. I know. Like this week is the prime example of you can't set an outdoor grow schedule.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely not. My plants are kind of pissed off right now just because it's cold, but
Right.
they'll be all right.
Yeah, it's insane. So, I mean, how many hours in a day are you just working, man? Because, I mean, obviously being an executive chef and you're at OBON all the time, right? And working the front line, but also cultivating menus. And you have your, two big bluefish tuna nights, which is a big deal. And then you got your home garden, your personal life, you're out fishing.
And wedding stuff, all in the same.
Oh,
thing
how's
right
the
now.
wedding stuff coming along, dude?
It's coming along. I didn't realize it's like 365 days of a wedding. Leading
Yeah.
up to
Yep.
a wedding.
Yep.
This is why a majority of the newlyweds don't get it on wedding night because they're so exhausted by the end of it. They're just like, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
That was me and my husband, 100%.
yeah.
Well, you need help with hair? I'm a hairstylist.
Right. Yeah, she's throwing it out
Let me
there.
brand that out real quick.
You got all your brands going on here. So 365 days of planning a wedding. What's been the biggest pain in the ass so far or surprising difficulty in planning a wedding?
The addresses for save the date cards and engagement party, big day. And
Yeah.
Trying to get all the addresses for 150.
So you're doing
people.
it traditional via mail, not like a digital Evite.
Yeah, no, we do have a website too, but we're sending out actual handwritten.
Those are nice. And then keep in mind, you had to do the photo shoot too and do all
Yeah,
that.
the photo shoot.
Did you do this pose where you got
There
that?
is some on there on my Instagram. Not they weren't too cheesy.
Not that pose?
Yeah, not
Okay.
that one. But
All right.
yeah, there's a couple on there.
Yeah,
it's just been
I got
super
one. I
busy.
got one. This one's good. Yeah, this one's not cheesy and stuff. You mind if I pull up your Instagram?
Oh, yeah, go
all
ahead.
right. Yeah, let's look at his save the date pictures. This is nice. Look at that. Look at Cowboy
Nice.
Chef Cowboy Anthony,
Yes,
the
sir.
sushi chef
The
Anthony
sushi
in the
cowboy.
cowboy hat, dude. I mean, everything about Anthony is wildly intriguing. Here we go. Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. I know we're talking Meet the Chef, but also one of the big celebrations and storylines of last year's Iron Chef, event is that Chef Anthony proposed to his longtime girlfriend as soon as he won Iron Chef. Got down on one knee in front of over 400 people, proposed, popped the question. She said yes. Been planning this wedding since then as we're getting ready for another Meet the Chef. Now, does the date of the wedding coincide around Meet the Chef and Iron Chef? Because that's just adding more to your plate, right?
So thankfully they moved up Iron Chef this year because last year it was like October.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when we're ramping up to get busy. So we had selected the date like right after Iron Chef, and I was like just waiting to hear when it's gonna happen because I was like, I don't know how this year's gonna work out.
Right.
And then they ended up telling me that it was earlier this year, so I was like, okay, cool, it works out because it's November 22nd is our wedding.
Oh, nice. Oh, good. Yeah. So you're going to have a nice fall wedding. And so that way you can focus as you're juggling all these things because it's a lot that Chef Anthony's juggling for sure. You can juggle all your things in personal and professional life, still be able to bring your A game to Meet the Chef because I'm sure you want to be reigning defending, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
What's the goal? How many dubs do you want in a row of Iron Chef?
I mean, you can only do 3. So
Yeah.
I would like to cap out.
You want to do the three-peat? You
yeah,
want
I'll
to go
do
Jordan on them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's going to be difficult. We're going to go
No,
out there.
definitely.
We're going to try to find some of the best chefs in town,
Please do.
Yeah, and we want that competition to be A game. Plus, when we do the Meet the Chefs event on the 18th, which you guys will be able to get tickets for here soon at kfma.com, that's essentially like an A-list Costco sample night. Right? It's like get the best samples that you can. And this is, I mean, I wish we, with Tucson Foodie or when we do the food truck roundups or anything, that we would get more bite-sized kind of stuff. Because when you see so many
You fill
different
up.
delicacies, yeah. And they're usually serving full servings. Like this is literally the perfect type of food event because you're like, I want a bite of this. I want a bite of that. I want a bite of everything and see, what is the best.
A
And
marathon tasting.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
last year's Meet the Chef too had comfort food going against like classic birria, going against sushi, and so I was I was so happy I wasn't one of these judges because I wouldn't even know what direction to go in, But we have our, expert judges like Chef Gary Hickey. They're looking for, recipe combinations, flavor palette type of presentation, obviously, is a huge point. When you went into Meet the Chef, what was your game plan to make you stand above the rest? Because you had not a traditional sushi dish, but it was definitely in your wheelhouse.
That was exactly the plan. I knew everybody was expecting hot food, and it's a little bit easier to control quality with cold food.
Yeah.
You're not sending out cold hot food, or this isn't you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all cold. It'll stay cold. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I did want to be different. I didn't want to go because I've been a chef for 11 years. I was cooking for 5 years before doing sushi.
Right.
So I definitely have that wheelhouse, and everybody got to see that. Like, I'm not just a sushi chef. Like, sushi is my life now.
Right.
But I've been in the kitchen way before I was in sushi.
And we've had legendary chefs in studio who actually have had you work in their kitchen. And I'm forgetting names right now, but who talked you up off air. I'll be like, you don't understand how good this kid is. Like, like they were like recognizing the talent you had as a kid before you became full blown sushi chef and gave you your flowers, so to speak, which, wasn't surprising to me after Meet the Chef. But again, going into it, I thought being a sushi chef was a massive disadvantage, considering. But, you're right. So that bite of the night that happened at last year's Meet the Chef, because this year, it doesn't matter. You're going to the finals. What was it? What was that combination again?
So that dish was something I created while working under Janos Wilder.
Yeah, Janos is the one who was talking you up.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
He was one of my judges too, actually.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that didn't hurt.
Yeah. I know Ken's gonna run with that one.
Conspiracy. I showed him face him in the finals. I love Chef Ken, by the way. I want to just reiterate that. That's my boy. All right, continue.
But it was a dish I created when I first started working for Janos. They did it was over the summer. They did international menu changes. So
okay.
It was 1 month for one country. And of course, when I first started there, the first country was Soroka, Japan. And they were like, here you go. Like, we're gonna run it. We're gonna look for you to give us inspiration on stuff like that. And so I wanted a dish that paid respect to Japanese culture and sushi that I've learned, but also give it Tucson flavors.
Right.
So we did a hibiscus cured yellowtail, and a prickly pear ponzu, and then I made Tucson furikake. Furikake is a Japanese rice seasoning, usually nori, MSG, sesame seeds, and some kind of fish or shrimp.
Yeah.
But I toasted off some pepitas, and we just crushed them up, added it to the furikake, and then I threw in chiltepin. Which is huge here in Tucson.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. That's a go-to recipe, yeah, for sure.
We did candied jalapenos and then shiso, which is Japanese mint. So and that dish was like super special to me because that was like one of the things I got on at Downtown Kitchen.
Yeah.
My first month of being there.
Right, which of course is a difficult thing for Chef Giannis to greenlight and be like, you put this on my menu.
Yeah, and to be able to go in there and, like I said, Giannis has been around for 35, 40 years.
He's one of the culinary kings in this town. Started it all. I don't think we'd be a city of gastronomy if it wasn't for the likes of Janos, in particular, just that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no, definitely. So like I wanted to bring it back, because that dish was mine solely. There was nobody else in that one. That one was me.
When you were kind of researching this, you have to go down the rabbit hole and research online all these different things for a while to come up with this. You didn't go to Japan and just start eating food. You didn't get that Anthony
If
Bourdain
anybody
experience.
wants to pay for me to go to Japan, that would be great. That would be sick.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I guess you could say research just over the years of playing with food. That's our way of research and development, is just throwing stuff together. I like this one thing on this dish. I like this component. Let's see if they work together.
Yeah.
And
not be afraid to fail. Be creative. Combine
and
things.
Not every dish is gonna be a banger right off.
Oh, I'm
the
sure.
Like, never.
Yeah.
It's not never, Because it does happen where you're like, it all went together and you're like, I don't need to change it.
Did you ever put anything together that you put in your mouth and you spit out immediately? Like, this is garbage.
Right.
I definitely have. I haven't, not that I can remember what exactly it is, but
Yeah.
definitely when I was younger, just like throwing random stuff together. And then the food I used to give my chef, I'm like, I'm surprised he even let me still cook because I'm like, damn, that brisket was nasty.
Yeah.
Like, why did nobody tell me that I made family meal for people and it was the worst brisket ever?
Yeah.
But everybody was, oh no, like you did it. Like, yeah,
Right.
it was terrible. But
Well, that's great. That item that went on the Chef Janos's menu and stuff that got you to the Iron Chef final, literally when you put it in your mouth, was 4th of July, right? Like, that's the best way to describe it because it exploded in ways that just like all your senses kind of lit up where you're like, whoa, you almost got high off of it, right?
Sounds like it had a lot of umami flavor.
yeah, no, definitely. And like I eat in bites. Like I'm kind of OCD. If I have 4 things on my plate, I grab one of everything to build the bite and eat.
Okay.
So that's the same way I portray my food. And that's why it's a little bit different to do sushi because you have more signature on everything.
Yeah.
From the cuts to the presentation to
Oh, yeah.
you'll know the difference between 2 different sushi chefs compared to 2 line cooks cooking the same thing that has a spec and you're producing the same thing.
Right. It's a little more of an art. And
Yeah, like in sushi, it's a lot more of a signature than, say, a hotline, you know what I mean? Because everything is based off of your skill. And you can see it based on going to different sushi restaurants or sitting down while I'm not at work and one of my guys. Yes, I would love consistency across the board, but everybody's different.
Yeah.
Like,
You go, I mean, you got to be the worst a sushi customer, though, when you go to places, right?
and it's crazy. I don't even eat sushi. Like,
Yeah.
like,
I know.
For the most
I know.
part,
You do
like,
barbecue.
I really don't
I
even,
see what you're cooking at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite direction, dude. You're
Yeah,
smoking
usually-
meats.
Yeah. And smoking meat. That's the crazy thing is like my love is sushi, but I've been smoking meats since 8th grade.
Yeah.
I was smoking meats before I was smoking trees.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'll like, and I like to put both of those together sometimes as well.
Right.
Because usually with barbecue, it's low and slow.
Right.
That's what you're after. It's a love language. Unless you're using easy bake oven. No offense to Traeger users, but
Yeah.
hardwood and just the offset smoker is the
Look
way
at
to
that,
go
shots
if you're
fired.
trying to-
Yeah, that was
if
a
you're
burn.
trying to do it right before you.
No
make
offense,
it
but
easy,
yeah,
you know?
your smoke game is weak. That's basically what he's saying. We're keeping the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. Meet the Chefs again is happening on May 18th. If you're a chef or you know a chef who wants to participate in this year's Meet the Chef, you can go to kfma.com, get all the information there, and maybe you could face off against Chef Anthony in the Iron Chef final that's happening in July. But according to Chef Anthony, you're just going to come in a close second. With that, youtube.com/beefvegan. We got a confession session and more coming up this hour, so keep it right here on Rock 102.1.
Man, I'd hate to be competing
Clear.
against you.
Yeah.
Shivering in my boots right now.
Good morning, everybody. That's where I first tried the chocolate jalapeno ice cream, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's a banger. And,
Yeah.
like, it's been for years.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That jalapeno ice cream from Janos was amazing.
He started that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even think I had that yet, but yeah, I could see, chocolate and jalapeno, period. Just that sweet and spicy all day long. All day
it was
long.
So good.
Yeah. What were some of the other dishes that you gave me when I went there just the other night?
We gave you the shishito peppers.
Oh, yeah.
In the
Oh, I
kitchen.
love those, dude. Yeah, my date couldn't eat those, so I had to eat that whole bowl. And I honestly, I ate every single one. Just like, yeah.
No, those ones are really good.
Yeah, what was the oil that you put that in?
Those are just fried in vegetable oil,
Yeah.
and then it gets dressed with umami sauce.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Have you
it's
been to
super, super
OBON?
good.
I have.
Yeah.
The cocktails are also spectacular.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Do you
cocktails
ever
really
get to try to craft a cocktail recipe, or you're sticking to the sushi?
Mm, I mean, I would love to do that. I don't have the time for it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he's got his hand so many different pots already, right?
Right,
and it's
right.
like, yeah, you gotta focus in on this, I mean, at this point in your game as a sushi chef, you get to a higher level, or you're good where you're at.
I mean, I don't know if there's necessarily. I mean, there's always higher levels to stuff. End goal is for me to own my own sushi restaurant eventually.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
And it would be sushi because
not necessarily
sushi and brisket.
It's funny you say that.
Yeah, okay.
There's a place in Texas that's doing Japanese and barbecue together, and it's a really dope fusion.
Do they do the rolls and stuff too? Or?
Not necessarily. Well, it's Japanese and not necessarily sushi.
Okay.
It's like barbecue or brisket steam buns.
Okay.
And different like brisket fried rice and stuff like that. Not necessarily sushi per se.
Yeah.
But
Japanese inspired barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
sounds really good.
and there is Japanese barbecue too as well. So like yakitori it's skewers.
Yeah.
You can do a skewer omakase.
Yeah.
There's places in Japan that only do yakitori.
Yeah.
Or there's places that do only tempura. And that's what they've done for 45 years.
Right.
And like
They mastered it.
Yeah. And like I said, like there's no, I mean, yeah, I could go get certs for like different Japanese. There is sushi certifications, like to be a master sushi chef and stuff like that in different areas. But for right now, I'm coasting.
Yeah.
I'm busy enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, especially this year, it's like you got enough on your plate.
Two
continue.
more OBONs opening up this year.
And so what's your position like, or your responsibilities when another OBON opens? Do they get you out there to kind of train everybody up, get everyone on the same page?
Yeah. So we're in the works of that right now. Trying to shape my team up in Tucson for me to be able to leave the store.
Yeah.
And it be a functional machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we
like
have
I gotta
this
go for a
opening
little bit.
coming
Don't
up
fuck
at
this up, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
At the end
what's-
of May, we're opening OBON in downtown Phoenix.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's coming up real quick, and then we have Paradise Valley within the next year too, as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
and
road trips.
What advice do you give to your chefs if they are a little less experienced? What's the best piece of advice you can give somebody?
I mean, the best piece of advice I can give any up and coming chef or anybody that's trying to get into this industry is if you have to be a lifer. That's what it's called. Like it's not like you can just do this for a year and then
Right.
like, oh yeah, like I did it for a year, and it's something that you have to work out for a really long time. And you just have to keep your head down. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Just stay in your own lane, and eventually everything will fall into place. Like in high school, like writing papers, I was like, oh yeah, at 25, I want to be owning a restaurant. I want to be an executive chef. If I was an executive chef at 25, I probably would have. I mean, I already got fired twice when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. I wasn't ready for it then.
Yeah.
So I had to wait for my time.
Right.
So keep your head down,
Yeah,
earn
keep
your
your
stripes.
head down and earn your stripes.
Yeah. You gotta spend those hours in the kitchen. Now, Tina said on the stream that she wished she could eat sushi, but she can't do shellfish. Well, what would you recommend?
I was going to say, you can do I eat sushi, and I have a shellfish allergy. I just have to make sure it doesn't have crab in it.
Yeah,
You can't have crab or
shrimp.
lobster? Or
Can't have
shrimp?
crab, lobster. Yeah, and there's also this thing whether you can
Oysters.
have mussels and other things because it's the protein that you're allergic to. So I've actually done some experimenting. So I can't have oysters, but I can have like octopus. Like
Okay.
so there is, you do have to break it down, but yeah, no, we have sushi all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and my fiance, she has a shellfish allergy, but she can eat oysters. She
Okay.
can't eat shrimp. She can't eat crab.
Cooked
lobster.
oysters or just
raw oysters.
Raw, yeah, it has to be raw then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then some octopus she can't eat, or she can eat it in small amounts because they eat shellfish. That's their diet.
Right,
Oh.
So
because,
no
yeah,
matter what,
it goes in
they're-
the.
yeah, it's
You
in
are
their-
what you eat. We talked about this earlier. It has
like you
to,
guys
yeah,
were
it has
talking
to do
about
with the
grass-fed and
protein.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, it's the protein they're eating.
Yeah, my husband bought mussels from like Costco or something, and it was like, can't I? And they're like, rub it on the back of your hand, give it 15 minutes, rubbed it on the back of my hand, and it just got redder and puffier. I was like, oh, well, never mind that. Let me take some Benadryl. Yeah, no, I have an EpiPen with me. Like, it's
That's what
significant.
I was gonna say. You could just have one of those bad boys on hand.
Oh,
to-
yes.
Yeah, it'd be worth it.
100%.
Honestly, some stuff I would, if like say like a cheeseburger or just something that you love, be like, I know this could kill me, but I'll just inject this
Yeah.
so I could eat this. I would have track marks like a junkie. And I'm like, "Ah, it's okay, it's okay.
There's an episode of Broad City, one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
And Alana has a whole episode where she wants to eat the shellfish. And she's like, guys, I'm doing fine. And
Yeah.
her face is swelling, and she just waits till the very last moment to go get taken care of.
No,
'cause it's worth it.
I knew a kid in junior high that, like, you know, because peanut butter cups, they're so good, but he had a peanut allergy. And one day he came in and he sat down on the table. He's like, I'm doing it. And we're like, what are you talking about? And he pops the peanut butter cup in his mouth. And he's like, oh my God, this is so good. And then like slams his thigh. And we're like, what is happening? He's like, I have a peanut allergy. Please go talk to the nurse. I was like, oh my God. And then a couple days later, we're like, because you have to go to the emergency room. You have to do the whole thing. I was like, was it worth it? He's like, that was so good.
Yeah.
I was like, wouldn't it have been better that you didn't know? Like, you could have tricked yourself to be like, no, it tastes awful. Don't eat it.
It's literally forbidden fruit, though,
I
you know? So
know.
it's going to taste a little bit better just because you can't have it.
Have you ever had a guest find out they have an allergy
Oh, yeah.
while they're eating at the restaurant?
Yeah, how many people have you
Not-
killed or saved?
Not at that's funny you bring that up. We pride ourselves on yes, it
Not
is kind
killing
of
your guests?
It is kind of an annoyance too. Some allergies, especially on like a busy Friday night, like a shellfish allergy coming in, it kind of is a speed bump in the road because we have to change out cutting boards, we have to
Right.
sanitize knives so that these people don't die in the dining room.
Yeah.
But we had a gluten allergy, and we made sure that I told the server. Well, they told us, and I was like, okay, cool. Make sure they have the right soy sauce on the table. We gave them the right soy sauce. The kid reached across the table, grabbed the wrong one, poured it, took one bite, and then left the restaurant. And I was like, what happened? And they were like, well, he grabbed the wrong soy sauce.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, like, I mean, it was better that it wasn't on us necessarily because, like, we
Right.
kind of take pride in not, like, we haven't had an instance whatsoever that I know of.
He must have been full celiac.
Yeah,
Because,
definitely.
like, I am gluten-free and I have an insensitivity to it, but, like, I'm not going to, like,
Keel over.
die. And yeah, exactly. But, like, I do know somebody who's celiac of, like, cross-contamination is a thing.
Yeah, no,
100%. Yeah, my daughter worked at Hacienda del Sol one day, and she's like, yeah, Mom, here's a cheesecake, chicken quesadilla that was left over. I was like, ooh, yum, yum, yum. And I'm a weirdo and like to eat my dinner in my bath. So I'm, like, sitting in the bath and I'm eating this. I'm like, man, this is good. Man, my mouth is itchy. And then I just looked at her. I was like, did you clean the grill before you made this? She goes, oh, no. But thankfully, like, I'd only taken, like, a bite and, like, got some Benadryl, whatever. Didn't need my EpiPen. But I was like, son of a... Yeah, it was awful.
All right, well, real quickly, get ready for confession session. We're going to be on for a minute and 5. And then just a heads up, it looks like Netflix is whitewashing Pop the Balloon. Pop the Balloon was a popular YouTube dating series where a bunch of women would line up with red balloons. The guy would come up and be like, yeah, my name is whatever, and this is what I do. And they pop the balloon if they're out, right? It's like a swipe right, swipe left, but in your face and brutal. Super funny. So a Netflix version is going to be live and going to involve, like, reality stars. The most notable would probably be Farrah Abraham, who was the teen mom
Oh, wow.
who did porn, right?
Oh, wow.
If you were, yeah, she go pop. I was like, seen you bang James Dean. Pop. I know he's dirty. Pop, 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 pop. I'd make myself bleed. Johnny Bananas from The Challenge. That's my boy. He's gonna be on there, and he's definitely a red flag too. So pop. But would you watch this?
Totally, yeah.
I know, that's the thing.
I've definitely seen clips of it before, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's ADD YouTube dating shows now making their way to Netflix, and that's going to be a growing trend, I promise you. Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. Let's get into a confession session. Now, Weirdo's been receiving tons of emails at weirdo@kfma.com. This is where you share an anonymous confession. Sometimes we'll even weigh in, give you advice. And, we got people who live life here. Kendall and Chef Anthony, they've all had their experiences as well. So what's the first confession you have for us, Weirdo?
All right, my 16-year-old son has recently decided he can now grow facial hair.
Nice.
I don't have the heart to tell him that his mustache makes him look like a pedophile. A lesson every man must learn for himself.
Bring him to a Roadrunners game. I have no problem telling these kids that. In fact, actually, dude, there's this kid. So I've been doing the Roadrunners games now for 8 seasons, right? So 8 years. And, time flies by when 8 years. And you don't think about how long that is as an adult, because in 8 years, to be honest with you, I kind of look the same, if not a little better. All right, legitimately. That's not even a humble brag, right? I'll show you pictures. But I've literally seen kids grow up. So I had this one kid who was a big hemorrhoid to me, dude. Always like asking me for free stuff. He's always, you know, like a little entitled brat kind of thing. And I'm always busting his chops and, you know, talking smack to him in a friendly way. And, you know, but he was, if he was at the game, I would know it. Right, because he would be in my orbit and asking me for sticks and pucks and, you know, and all that, and shadowing me almost everywhere. And that's how it was for the first 4 or 5 seasons. I saw him last night at last night's game. I saw him. He's at the game. He doesn't even approach me anymore because now he's 17. He's got a mullet, right? He's into chicks. He's got the little dirtbag mustache, and he's too cool to talk to me, and I'm offended. I'm like, bro,
Really, little jerk.
yeah, dude, I thought we were boys. Don't you want a puck? Don't you want a stick? I almost gave him a jersey just to get his friendship back, man. But yeah, these kids, they grow up so damn fast, and you know, teenagers, they all turn into a-holes.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a kid that I was so annoyed that when he would show up to the game, I love his family too. But I'd be annoyed when he's around, but in a fun way. You know, it's like having a little brother, and I bust his balls. But now, like, I literally
Now he's too cool for you.
yeah, I got heartbroken. And I'm looking at him like, and your style with your whole, like, you know, cowboy horror look, right? Is that what it is? It's the Morgan Wallen, you know, I want all the women type of look, right?
A promiscuous cowboy.
Yeah. Trying to be a slut, bro. I see it. It's like, you don't listen to country. You just want it. All right. And with that, you know, so I'm not afraid to like call him out on it too. And maybe that's why he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. But
Maybe.
the next time I'm looking for that mullet. I'm looking for the cowboy hat. I'm going to sit right next to him. And for an hour, I'm just going to be roast joking this kid, you know, until that beard grows in. So, which is probably another year or two. All right. So there was a confession there. Totally forgot it. Let's move forward.
Would you like the next one?
Yes, please.
All right. I feel like you might be able to relate to this one too.
Okay.
It says, got super drunk,
Yep.
lost my keys, and nobody was at home, and I was dying for a poo. Took a bear-sized crap in my neighbor's front yard at 4 a.m. The neighborhood WhatsApp has been going crazy about what sort of animal could have produced it.
Nice.
Man, that sucks.
It does suck.
But I've been there.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what's?
I mean, I don't go in a neighbor's yard.
Okay.
But I've gone in a wash before.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're survivalist when it comes to pooing, right? So you're
I
not
mean,
afraid
if it's
to pop
an
a squat.
emergency, yeah.
You remember that trend in like middle school where you'd like crumple up the paper and stretch it out to like soften lined paper? I don't know if you guys. ever did
No,
that.
but I mean, yeah,
It was
I'm
a weird
following.
thing. Like they would just crumple up paper and then wring it out.
Yeah,
crumple
like
up
turn
to
it into
make
cloth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank God I learned that trait because I got off at the wrong bus stop one day, and it's like a half-mile away from my house, and I really, really had to go to the bathroom. And so it was me and my friend, and we're just walking through the desert, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, avidly crumpling up this paper, stretching it out, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I need
Prepping.
toilet paper because I'm just gonna poop behind that bush." Like,
Yeah.
Right.
and he was laughing so hard because I'm like, I really had to. I can't. I'm not shitting myself to, you know.
Yeah, that is brilliant. I have to dump on that, but that is a brilliant life hack, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
actually
Yes.
just reshare that as a beef tip. That's our beef tip today, honestly, because in a crunch, and that's the worst case scenario. Usually people go for the sock, right? But
Or
then
your
you're wasting
underwear.
a sock.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you're in a public bathroom too with no toilet paper, I mean, if you have paper on you, then you don't need to clog up a toilet with a sock. But I will say this it's a mantastic humble brag that I mean, it was gross that you did it in the front yard, but the fact that it was of that stature,
Of
that size,
caliber?
I thought it was an animal.
Guys, we have a weird kind of like, you know, South Park documented this well
Oh, yeah.
with the Curix, right? We have a weird obsession with having, you know, the biggest and best movements. And I tip my hat to you, sir. Good for you with your bear like poo. All right, give me another confession here.
All right. It says, I work in retail, and when I see someone stealing, I just let them. Times are tough, and I don't want to do the extra paperwork. And I commend this person. I don't care.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's an anonymous confession, so we won't share where they work at because, you know, I'm sure a couple listeners are like, got a pen and paper.
Right,
They're like,
exactly.
what location?
Yeah. Which one? But I am a huge person of if you see somebody steal food, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
No,
you
you
think it's
didn't.
food? Nah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I mean publicly on the radio we can't condone that, but yeah, I get it.
Condone what? I didn't see anything.
No, oh yeah, sure. You didn't see anything.
I didn't see nothing.
All
Like
right.
John Cena.
All right. Any other confessions?
That's it for today.
All right, excellent job. Let's keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. We got more coming up right after this, but you can join us youtube.com/beefvegan. All right, I had
Yeah,
to-
we got to put a disclaimer after I talk about. Yeah, it's fine. Just steal. It's good. It'll be fine.
That's what Robin Hood did,
Mm-hmm. So from
The
the, rich, give
Carla,
to the
oh.
poor.
right? He was a good
Yeah,
guy.
as long as you're not dining dashing at the restaurant.
Yes,
Ooh.
exactly.
I do realize
Uh,
that I say that about food specifically.
I'll give you free
Yeah.
food, but if you run out on a $200 tab, I'm probably gonna chase you down.
Oh yeah, no, I mean
Right.
like
Chase
at the
someone down?
grocery store, like,
Yeah.
because I've seen that. I've seen somebody get tackled for stealing baby formula, literally while pushing a stroller
Aw.
with the baby, and you could tell she was having a
Aw.
hard time, and they tackled her.
Yeah.
They tackled her.
I
I was
had-
like, really? Was
I had
that worth it?
a situation where I was standing in line at Circle K, and there was a woman in front of me, and she's trying to get cigarettes and some other stuff, scratchers, all this, poor stuff, right? And she's trying to use EBT card, she's trying to use another card, nothing's working, right? I know what it's like to be addicted to nicotine and needing a fix and being in that situation. And also, I'm standing in line for like 10 minutes. So I'm like, I got to get this going, right? So she keeps having questions and everything. So selflessly and selfishly, right? So it's both. The motives were both. Was like, let's get this going and let me help you out here. I just went up and I was like, let me buy the pack of cigarettes for you, right? And she's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And so I bought the pack of cigarettes, and she was on her way, and it was good. And then I bought my stuff, got my nicotine, and we're good to go. And what I didn't realize is then, like, about a month later, at the Roadrunners game, I'm in the back of the Zamboni tunnel talking to Zamboni guys, and a couple guys came up that know the Zamboni guys. And he's like, you beef, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, listen to the show. He's like, I saw you at Circle K buy the pack of cigarettes for some lady, right? And then he was, in his mind, it was just this grand gesture of me being like such a great person, which I couldn't allow him to think that, right? Like, I had to be real with him because, yes, it was a kind gesture. But at the same time, I gotta fucking go, dude.
Right.
And she is like literally in line. I'm kind of like, and I had this narrative in my head for the entire time where at the very beginning, I'm like, I should just buy this woman's cigarette. She's obviously in need. I should just buy it, right? But then I didn't, and I'm just like sitting there like, well, maybe this will work out for her. As I'm just sitting there waiting. And I'm going back and forth. And then finally, when it was like the final no, I was like, I got you. But I could have said that at the first minute
Right.
and been the sweet angel, and I wasn't. Luckily, I mean, it was cheap cigarettes, which is still like $8, but a brand that I never heard before that was just gross. Yeah, but she gave me a hug and everything too, and I was like, oh.
She smelled like her cheap, weird cigarettes.
She did. So it was a weird thing where it was obviously a kind gesture, but it was also selfish at the same time.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I walked away torn, and then I get this this guy being like, "You're an angel of a
Oh
man."
my God, you're an angel for buying this woman cancer.
Right,
Good job.
right. Well, at the time, dude, she was already Val Kilmer like, so
No.
too soon.
Too soon.
Whatever.
If I see her again, she'll probably be like, "You got me another pack." I'm like, "No, you're standing behind me now."
Right.
I do have this homeless guy downtown that has been around OBON for like 7 years.
Yeah.
And like he used to, I don't know where he got all these monsters, but he used to post up a ice chest outside of Rialto, and it would have like 90 monsters and all this. I'm like, where you get all this? You don't
Yeah.
have any money.
Right.
And he's like, don't worry about it, but I'll sell them to you for $1. So I used to go get them for the team at OBON and be like, oh.
Oh yeah, so
And
with
yeah.
that discount, dude.
So I'm like, let
That's
me
hot.
get 30 of them.
Yeah, dude.
like,
That fell off a truck.
so like, and then he would ask me like, hey, can I get a job there? And I'm like, well, like, first off, you have to have a shower. You have to have a birth certificate, all the stuff to fill out paperwork, and you have to have like we'll do it if you have that stuff.
Yeah. Like we
like-
want to employ you and help you out, but that's so
there's-
funny that for the first one is you have to shower.
Hygiene is a big thing, and like
Yeah.
that one's
Right.
you have to. I don't
You also
care
have to show some kind of, like self-determination, right? Like,
Well,
you
get
gotta-
up and
he's
get
asking.
ready, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So like he's asked me for years, and I'm like, well, do you have those 3 things? Like I've been telling you for years, and I always give him money. Like and he comes into OBON to ask me for money.
Oh,
like
jeez.
yeah. So
That's
like
the
it's,
worst, yeah.
it is, but I still give him money. And the other day, like wedding stuff, I'm like, I don't have extra money to be just passing out. You know what I mean? So he comes up to me and he's like, yeah, like I have a doctor's appointment and I need $20. And I was like, no, like I can't help you out today. Like I have a couple cigarettes. Here you go. Yeah. And my GM had just did my tips, and she's walking past me, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have any cash on me, and she just looks over at me, and I'm like,
don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Because he then proceeded to be like, oh well, if you have your card, there's an ATM right there, and I'm like, bro, you're asking way too much.
He's like, I take PayPal, Venmo,
yeah, he's like, Cash App, you know,
right?
Same similar situation, and I say it all the time. And again, I've already said it today. No good deed goes unpunished, right? You know, and it's unfortunate and gets in that situation. I have a guy who works at the Tucson Arena. I give everybody in and out cards, which you know.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, you know, like I hook up the staff around there and everything. Be like, here you go. I have an extra one. It's just a nice way to say thank you and give him a tip. So this guy, who's a janitor, so ever since I gave him one, is coming out of the woodwork and everything. Like, hey, I want like if I do, I'll give you one. You know, if I come across one. One time, I'm literally on the microphone, on camera, in front of a bunch of people and stuff. He walks up right here and he's like, and it's broken English, in and out card, and I'm like, dude, I'm working right now. What are you talking? What?
My God.
Yeah, man. And I'm just like, I understand in and out is good, right? But don't make me regret doing something nice. Yeah. And that's this guy walking into the restaurant, which I'm sure your owner is not happy about.
My GM doesn't like it.
Yeah,
like, he's the little homie. Like I've known him for forever. Like Slobby Robbie's giving him clothes, and like he has chains and stuff like that. Like, you know, he used to have a dog that I knew forever, and then it attacked somebody, so they had to put it down. So it was like, you know, I've known this guy forever, and he's not just like. And he's asked me for $30 one day, and I was like, $30? Like, what do you? And, you know, he had me write his sign, and he was like, "Can you write $30?" And I'm like, "I'm not writing 30. Can I have $30 on this sign?"
Right.
You can ask for money, but I'm not putting a price on here. Like,
yeah, dude.
You can write it. And he was like, no, well, I need it for my medicine. And I'm like, well, what are your medicine? What exactly is your medicine?
Right.
Because I'm not paying for your pills. I'm
right,
not paying for your heroin.
Yeah.
You want a joint? I'll give you that.
Right.
And I'll give you $10 to get the munchies settled later, but I'm not paying for your street drugs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Right.
And my mom owns a clinic, and I told him, if you go to the clinic, it's funded by the state. Yeah. They could see you for free.
Yeah, that's right. Give you the methadone and everything else.
As a matter of fact, if you pick up needles off the street, my mom will give you 1 per of clean so that they're cleaning up the streets at the same time.
Nice.
As not necessarily trying to keep them from their addiction, but giving them safe stuff, because she works for the center or the Arizona AIDS Foundation.
Yeah.
So their biggest thing is trying to make sure that we're not spreading.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like these
diseases,
these bloodborne diseases.
Well, and they've proven that when they've done, you know, whether it's like the safe spaces to use or, again, the clean needle programs, they've actually watched people go into recovery more, because usually that's available, the information on recovery and different programs and everything. Like, they have proven that it is, if we stop treating it, again, as a crime and a medical crisis, things go much better. Yeah. So much better. So good on your mom.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and good on you, too. But, again, that is something that's like you started doing a good deed, and now, like, there are days that you regret it. You know, you're in the middle of, like, a dinner rush, and a guy comes up and give me $20. Fuck you, man. Speaking of which, do you know how much my tab was, by the way?
Oh, I don't even know.
All right.
Did they take care of you?
They did, actually. Thank you. Yeah. But that's why I was just like, I kind of do the same thing. That's why, hey, give me a bunch of food for free.
He dined and dashed. That's who you were talking about.
No, I dropped cash tip.
I
dropped
I was
in and out
see
cards.
him the next week.
Yeah, Rock
he can't run in this room.
Yeah. Luckily, I had $20 cash on me when I went in and saw Chef Anthony. He took care of me, because I would have felt like a jerk if I didn't have any cash tip, right? And so, yeah, I dropped bills and I had the extra In-N-Out cards. And I'm just like, and not only did I give it to him, I gave it to the chef next to him. And then just like his boy that was sitting next to me.
Yeah,
I'm
he
like,
used
you
to be
get
the
him too.
kitchen manager too, so he came in to see. So yeah, it was funny that you gave him cards too, because he used to work for OBON.
Yeah. I was like, I feel like a jerk now. I'm just saying, I got to hand them out to everybody. Luckily, it was only 3 people around me because the whole kitchen was around. I'm like, well,
Oh,
you
yeah,
get
they all
one. You
would've
get
been.
one. Yeah.
Came out of the woodwork.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we've been talking with Chef Anthony here on the podcast broadcast. Of course, Meet the Chef is happening on May 18th, and this is going to be a great competition. Also, just a great event to go to enjoy if you're a foodie and you enjoy trying great delicacies here around town. Obviously, you know, the bar is raised high with all the great food here. I mean, with Chef Anthony representing OBON, Kendall representing C's Kitchen, which, you know, is a tremendous place as well, and Weirdo representing all things she can't eat. You know, there's so many great.
Oh, is he going to shout out my hair salon? No.
Well, you don't eat at your hair salon.
Well, you could be showing out local businesses anyway.
Well, okay. Oh, and while we're at it, Weirdo has a hair salon.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Desert Moon Booty Salon. Look it up.
I mean, your hair does look delicious, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. See?
And you got to look good while you eat.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't.
When you go out to eat, yeah, you got to dress up and look
Oh,
nice.
yeah, when you go out to eat. How'd I look, by the way, when I was there? I look pretty sharp?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man. You see? Okay, you're right.
I wasn't super convinced.
When you're going to Obon too, you know, it's a nice place. It's downtown and stuff. So yeah, you definitely want to, you know, I mean, I showered, I trimmed up a little bit and stuff. So yeah, I was looking good. Put on my good hoodie, if you will, you know, for.
Your fancy
Yeah, I didn't know
hoodie?
if he was on a date or what, so I was like, I don't know how to play this out. I was
know.
actually talking to Spears and Justin about it. I was like, oh yeah, beef was in it. I didn't know if it was a date or not, and he
Yeah.
sat at the sushi bar, so I didn't want to like continue to talk to him, so like they had time to talk.
It
like-
was a date. It was a date. And I said earlier too, we were talking about going in because this is the second time that I've taken a date to a restaurant where I know the chef, and you know the way I am is just like, hey chef, make me whatever, right? You like I trust you and your judgment, and then I have the date say, well, I have dietary restrictions. And
I
have to
was
look-
like, oh dang, I should have asked beforehand. Like,
no, I was just like, I should have been on a different date, dude. Damn it. Right? So that happened to me at one of your competitors last year who, you know, it was an Italian restaurant. And then so I was like, chef, yeah, whatever you want. And he's taking care of it too. So again, I'm super appreciative and just whatever you can give me is great. And I'm sure I'll love it. Your pick. And then she goes, oh, but I'm gluten free. And then we both look at each other like, oh no, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.
It's the worst. It's the worst. So yeah, next time before I go on any dates to
ask
chef
dietary
friends.
needs.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you have dietary restrictions? Cool. We're going to In-N-Out. I got a card.
Yeah, here's a free card. Or you can go to In-N-Out. Here you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. But it was delicious too. All right, so we're gonna wrap things up with the beef tip after these words. But we are hanging out here on the podcast broadcast, and you can join us youtube.com/beefvegan. Yeah. That was and it was cool. And it was a good flex. I didn't even necessarily mean to flex, you know. I was like, oh, well, sushi. I'm like, I know a place, right? And it was a Monday. I was like, well, it'd be awesome if Anthony was working, you know. But either way, we're going to Obon, right? And just show some support and stuff. So it was good. It was bonus and everything. And honestly, you know, like the girl and I were just friends. It didn't necessarily work out, right? Which is
So
fine.
there's not going to be another date.
No, we did have another date, and then we're just like, yeah, we're cool with the dates at this point. You know what I mean? It was good to get to know you. We still kind of chat, but we just realized like, nah, it's not necessarily lining up. Which has been the story of my year, basically. You know, but I will say this. In a positive note, when I do these like dates and stuff, as I'm maturing, I'm not just ghosting out completely, and I'm actually having the hard conversations.
Good.
To say it's not easy to do.
And you got to
Kendall.
practice that. So you
Yeah.
got to keep going on dates that don't work out.
Yeah.
It's important.
Unfortunately, I have tons of practice. I'm like, I put my 10,000 hours in, you know, so, but it's only been recently that I've not just straight up ghosted in a scenario. Yeah. I mean, you've been in a relationship for how long now?
3 years.
Yeah. So you haven't even dealt with that, but you were dating for a little bit
long
before you
time.
started. Yeah. So how many times did you get ghosted?
You know, I don't.
Or ghosted in return.
That's the thing. I don't think I've been ghosted per se, but I've done some ghosting. I think sometimes ghosting can be appropriate.
Oh yeah. Well, it really depends on where you're at in a relationship, right?
Right.
I
Yeah.
had a situationship where I was in. It was like a whirlwind, right? In like maybe 2 months, but we were already saying love, right? It was one of those. It was hot and
Oh
heavy.
damn.
I know.
Oh damn.
Because she was that crazy, but it was hot, right?
The
So you
crazies are
do,
hot.
yeah. He does have this like ratio thing of like the hotter they are, the crazier they are.
Mhm.
Well, there's just the ones that like me that are hotter. Then you're just like, there's a level of crazy involved. I don't know.
It's science.
Yeah, yeah.
Science.
But and unfortunately, I kind of do need that spark. I was seeing someone for a little bit of this year who is not crazy whatsoever. Was actually like smart and successful, beautiful, like checked all the boxes as far as the metrics.
Mm-hmm.
And but her social battery was too large for mine, right? I was tired. I felt bad for having to constantly cancel.
Mm.
And then geographically it wasn't attractive because she lived far north side and is there, so it made even kind of linking up a little more difficult.
Okay.
Giving a look. So basically I saw the writing on the wall. I was like, there's not enough crazy to keep me interested because I need a certain
Keep
amount
you
of drama in my life.
traveling across town.
Yeah. Because I'm such damaged goods. If we're not yelling at each other every now and then I'm not hard. It's messed up. And so she, like I said, and I tried to explain this to her. I'm like, on every metric, you're 1,000 out of 10, and wife material for normal people.
It's not you, it's me. The classic.
She was not happy about that
Yeah.
because she's not used to rejection either. And I'm like, sure you're not.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
frustrating.
Yeah. And you're looking at this schlub and like, oh, I'm not gonna let you reject me. And I'm like, no, I know, but when I'm not rejecting you. I'm saving you.
Right.
This is saving. I need the right amount of crazy for me. And I'm actually at a point where I'm like, that might not ever happen, right? I might never find that amount of crazy. But
And just start speed dating at the psych ward.
yeah.
New YouTube dating show. We're gonna work on that.
Mhm.
And all the
gosh.
crazies are popping balloons, you know?
Yeah.
Finding beef's beef.
And that's usually the red flag that they are crazy, because if they're like, hey, you're cute. I'm like, oh, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I see it.
You want to go
there.
get sushi?
Yeah, you want to get sushi? Let me show you all my friends here. I'm going to show you off. Because that's not a good move either. But yeah, no, she was a sweet girl, and we're friends now, so that's good.
Yeah, I relate to that. I've had that happen. I've been in her shoes before. And you don't understand until later on in time, when time goes by. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's why that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been working out my issues one podcast at a time. Eventually, after another 1,000 episodes, I should be okay and ready to settle down. We'll see what happens.
I was thinking about, I think the guy that comes to mind that I ghosted, it was because he didn't wash his hands properly.
Oh.
Which when you work in the restaurant industry, that is probably even more
Yeah.
critical than the average Joe.
Yeah, especially if you get intimate.
Yeah.
After, yeah.
Mhm.
And so, so he went into my bathroom,
Mhm.
used the restroom, and I could hear the sink not running. And so when he came out, I was like, did you wash your hands? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, go back in there and do that.
Right.
And then
What are
he
you,
does
8?
it. It gets,
Wash your hands.
yeah,
I know,
what am
but
I, your mom?
If it's a pee and then you got a clean peen, sometimes you're just like, it's going. I know this thing's just clean. I touch it,
No.
put it on my face, whatever. You know what I
No.
mean? It's part of my
No.
body. No.
No. Well,
Okay.
then he goes back in there. And then I had no trust, right? The trust had already been broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go, did you use soap? And he goes, yeah. And I said,
That's a lie.
let me
me
smell your
it.
hands.
Yeah.
and I couldn't smell the soap.
Of course not. There's no way.
So
He just
I
ran
had to
his
send him
hands
back
the
in
water.
there a third time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So you deserve to get ghosted
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
warranted sometimes.
That okay, so that just jogged memory of just what happened with this. I wasn't 100% truthful on this on our friend thing
God.
on the last one.
Here we go.
Well, because I think it was a mutual separation. Because while our little date night was like at my house, watching a movie and stuff, I took my hat off and I reached down and I grabbed something. Now I got a bald spot going. I got male pattern baldness. I wear hats all the time. I don't care. All right. I think she cared. And so what happened was I sit next to her. I swear to God this happened, and I'm not exaggerating whatsoever. So I lean over, I grab something. I could tell she kind of sees the bald spot, but I let it out there. I sit next to her. She puts her arm around me, touches the back of my head, and then says, I got to go. Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. We only have a couple seconds to give you a beef tip. Want to thank Chef Anthony for coming in. Meet the Chefs is on May 18th. You get your information at KFMA.com. Kendall, always a pleasure. Weirdo, fantastic. She has a salon, by the way. You need to follow Weirdo on social media so you can know about her salon. And if you need to get your hair did, she's the woman for you.
At Desert Moon Salon.
There you go. So let me give you a beef tip. Chef Anthony blessed us with this one. If you are out in the wilderness and you need to go number 2 and it's an emergency, grab a piece of paper, start balling it up. You can make it soft like toilet paper, right? Or like cloth. And that's the way that you could basically survive out in the wilderness and be able to be hygienic while handling an emergency situation.
You know?
Yeah, that's a beef tip. Thank you for that, Chef Anthony. Good luck in this year's Iron Chef, and I'm sure we'll see you again. Robin Nash is up next. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Drive safe, ride safe, and rock local. Later.
Bye.
I was talking on the outro, but that's fine. Oh, yeah, so she goes, literally, like, sit next to me, puts her arm there, goes there. I'm feeling her fucking fingers. I'm feeling them touch the area. Not less than 45 seconds after that, she's like, oh, yeah, I'm tired. I should go. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, your timing there is pretty quick, but, you know, like, I was already, like, emotionally kind of like, this shouldn't, you know, we shouldn't proceed with this anyways, so I wasn't upset by it, because I'm like, what a good out, and this is the first time that I'm like, oh, thank God for my fucking bald spot, right? But at the same time, I'm like, rude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, yeah, so it was interesting, because then it's like slowly, she's kind of slowly creeping around, just like she's gonna massage it, but she's
Michael
not.
Jordan, you real quick?
No,
Calm you?
no, she's like a baby baboon. She's a mama baboon picking fucking fleas out of her baby's hair like that. She's just like grooming. Huh? No, it's not up there either.
No real estate?
Oh, look at the time. Like, it's 9:45. What are you talking about? Crazy. All right, thank you for listening to me open up about all my trauma. Congratulations on everything.
No, definitely.
You're the man. And thank you guys for watching. We'll be back tomorrow morning, full staff as well. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Nice.
Nice.